Hey everybody, I hope you're all doing well out there. Today, we're going to focus on bass and how to process bass in parallel. We're going to use this in the context of making bass and drums fit together in a mix. So let's jump into Studio One and explore the bass. All right, so let's talk about bass processing now. The general idea is pretty simple and has been done a lot. It's called parallel processing. And basically the idea is that we're going to be stacking two bass tracks, identical performances, on top of one another. And you'll see that here. I've got my original bass direct input that went straight into my interface using an Ibanez 6-string, and I'm using the neck pickup here. It sounds like this without any processing. All right, and the general idea is that we want to keep this sound as pristine as possible. We want to get from our instrument to our interface as unprocessed as possible, because all of the really cool processing happens in the DAW. So what I'm going to do first of all is I duplicate this track and this performance. This very first track that we have here is going to just be processed using a low pass filter. So we're going to filter away the majority of the high end of the bass. And let's hear what that sounds like. First unprocessed, then after I add this EQ. So you'll notice that we're removing quite a bit of the high end, and that's obviously because we're going to be keeping this track just for the low end. We want to be using a bass amplifier and some distortion for the duplicated track. So let's talk about what we're going to do for this duplicated track. We're going to be getting our high end and our dirt and our grit from a pedal, which is an emulation of the Proco Rat, and then we're going to run that into a Culture Vulture. Then we're going to run into an Ampeg SVT3 Pro, and then finally one last equalizer before this goes into a bass bus. So I'll solo out the drive bass, and I'll turn on each of the effects so you can listen to what it sounds like. We're really just destroying this bass here, and that's the whole point. Notice here we take out quite a bit of the high end once it goes into a bass amp, and using the speaker and microphone modeling. And then we filter off even more of the high end. Now we'll bring that original bass back in. That's where we're getting our low end. Let's remove it. See how much body we're losing? it's back on. All right, so we've got those two tracks together and they're stacked on top of one another. Now, I'm going to be sending those out, each of those, into their own bus, and this is the base bus. That has its own set of processing. It's namely an equalizer and a compressor. So let's listen to what the processing sounds like here. This voice of God is amazing on all sorts of stuff, but you can really dial in your low end here. And this distressor is just amazing on bass like this. All right, so let's hear what it sounds like together with the drums that we've already processed. Yeah. Well, that's going to do it for this video. I hope that was useful and maybe inspired you to think about how you're processing bass. And if there's another way that you've been processing bass, feel free to let me know below. I'm always eager to learn. Well, I hope you enjoyed that, and until next time, take care.